Hi, Tom from bknutrition.com, and today I want to talk about friction. The friction which is stopping you achieving your goals, achieving you building more muscle, achieving you losing body fat, achieving you building a better, healthy lifestyle for yourself. Now, in my book, Target Lean, which I always carry next to me on my desk, I talk about the phenomenon called the friction. You may have also heard about this if you've read Stephen Pressfield's book called The War of Art, where he talks about the resistance. And he talks about the resistance in terms of professionals doing their job. When I talk about friction, I'm not talking about, say, professionals, but it is also making sure you are behaving like a professional when you are looking at building a better body, building a more healthy lifestyle, doing whatever you're going to do and doing it properly. And to be that level, you need to be consistent. You need to do it every single day. You need to put those things in every single day. But the problem is that our lifestyle is full of friction. It's full of things stopping us trying to achieve our goals. For example, if you are a dad like I am, then you probably have commitments even with your child's school, or with your child's childcare, if you're picking them up from school, if you're taking them to sports games, if you're taking them out for play dates, all those sorts of things. And those things just although we can schedule them to a certain degree, they will just pop up randomly. And it's, oh yeah, so Jacob's got a play date, so I've got to take him to this. So the stuff I had planned, which is on my normal repeatable week, I have to just put that aside for a minute. And that is, although it's a great thing, it's an enjoyable thing for me to take him to a play date, it is friction, it's possible friction, which could disrupt my normal routine and could disrupt my consistency. And that's the thing, is that when people are saying, oh, I just need a diet plan, or I just need a training plan, or can you write me a diet plan, Tom? Yeah, okay, I can write you a diet plan. Are you going to stick to it? Probably not, because the issue is you haven't addressed the friction in your life. All the things that have stopped you achieving that body in the past. And things like extreme bro bodybuilding diets, keto diets, the juice diets, all those things, they do work. And the reason they work is because they create a calorie deficit. And if you were to follow them consistently, day in, day out, you would actually lose body fat. So why do people give them such a knock? Why do people say, oh, that was rubbish, I did that, and I lost a bit of weight, and then I gained it all back again? Because the friction, the fact that the diet plan was so difficult to follow, it created very restrictive behaviors that you couldn't actually stick to all the time. That's the thing that stopped you achieving your weight loss or your fat loss. It wasn't that, okay, the diet was rubbish, it didn't account for you, but that's the friction created by the diet. It didn't give you the freedom, it just put more pressures on you. And also with workout plans, when people are talking about workout plans, I see a lot of workout plans which are given out, which are optimized for people, and it's like, oh, here's squats, here's some deadlifts, here's some bench press. Oh, and do you know what? You're going to do that 4 times a week, 5 sets of 5 reps. Now that might be very good in terms of building more strength, and it might be consistent in terms of you're getting better at doing squats, getting better at doing deadlifts, etc., if you're doing them right, of course. So you might be getting better at doing those exercises and might be more efficient at doing those exercises, but then what happens then? Your mind becomes numb because all you're doing all the time is the same types of exercise. And although you might throw in some, bicep curls or some shrugs every now and again, it's this optimized mentality by coaches when they're giving out plans. It's like, oh, what's the best thing for building legs? Oh, squats. So let's give him squats every single time he's training. But that doesn't work, because although it might be the best thing for, and that's under debate, by the way, I don't agree that just squats all the time is best for building legs, far from it. But although on paper it might be, oh, this activates the quads more, well, okay, but you're doing that every single workout for the next 6 months. Your mind is not being entertained. So what's gradually building up is friction of boredom with the workouts. And this is why every single workout I create in my coaching program is different. I've got a couple of different training plans. They've all got names. All the workouts have got names. And although some of them might contain squats, and some of them might contain deadlifts, and some of them might contain bench press, for example, they're in different orders, there's different versions of the exercises, there's different sets and reps, there's supersets, there's drop sets, there's all these things that just take away from the boredom of, oh, it's squats again. So people, when they come to work with me, they say, I've never done that amount of leg volume before. And yeah, squats is a part of that. But we're also chucking in high volume leg press, we're also chucking in drop sets on leg extensions, we're also dropping in reverse lunges. and reverse lunges on a Smith machine. If you've not done that exercise, go and give it a try. There's a video on my YouTube. It's horrible, but it really does build legs. And the problem is that when you're giving these boring exercises out, which coaches give out these optimized workouts with these boring exercises, yeah, okay, they might be on paper the best thing to do. And although you might be tracking your lifts meticulously and everything else, if you're looking to build muscle, you need to engage all the muscle fibers, or as much of the muscle fibers as you possibly can within that workout. And just doing squats or few leg extensions or whatever is not going to do that. You need to hit it from multiple angles. You need to get multiple redundancies, because the body works on redundancies. As soon as it fails on a heavy squat, if you try and chuck in another heavy squat, you're just not going to recruit as many muscle fibers. However, if you were to do a squat and then follow it with a superset on lighter leg press for more volume, still pretty much the same types of muscle fibers, but now we're allowing the redundant muscle fibers to come into play. And it's a challenge, and it makes it more interesting, and it also increases the rate of perceived exertion. So people think they're doing a more, well, they are, because they're doing a superset, but they think that's a hard workout, that's a tough workout. It's challenging, it's entertaining, it's also a little bit scary. But isn't that great? The fact that you're going into workout and you go, do you know what? I'm a little bit afraid of this workout because it looks tough, and I've done it before. Actually, I know it's a tough workout, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to be challenged to do it. Isn't that more interesting than going, oh yeah, I got 5 times 5 squats today? You know, and it's this friction of boring workouts is something I really make a stand against when I'm with my clients. It's like, why do that thing over and over again? Why do the same thing over and over again? You know, yeah, okay, you might be getting better at doing that workout, but you're not entertaining your mind. You're not challenging yourself that way. And when we come back to nutrition, we're talking about like the friction associated with nutrition. So when you've got the same diets again, and so the same meals again and again, and this is coaches who give out meal plans, and they say, well, you must eat, let's say, oats and whey first thing in the morning, then it's chicken and rice, then it's this, that, the other. And I appreciate that actually that thing goes on less and less now with the value of things, apps like MyFitnessPal and Eat This Much and stuff like that. Although that does go on less and less now, that still does happen with coaches saying you must eat this meal at this time. And there's less flexibility. It's a better option if coaches can say to their clients, well, here is a sample template. So here is an example of breakfast, here is an example of lunch, here is an example of dinner, for example. But what we can do is we can move those meals in and out. So say, for example, I have eggs and bagels normally for my breakfast, but if I say have run out of bagels or I fancy a change, I will swap that out for something like protein pancakes, which I make myself. And the macros and the calories will be about the same. And I'm still giving myself a good amount of protein, good amount of carbs, hit my calories for that meal, but I'm swapping out and making the food more interesting. And I think that's the core thing which I really do think more people should do in their coaching, is to educate their clients more in terms of, right, if we don't want this food, we can have this food, and the reason we can swap these over is because the macros are the same, the nutrition is the same, all these sorts of things are the same, but it makes it more interesting. And that also with the client allows them to get a greater knowledge of what they like, foods they like. They can start trying new foods, because one of the things I've seen with a lot of people is when they come to me, they've probably only eaten about sort of, say, 5 or 6 different meals, probably the same breakfast, and they're heating meals around about the same sort of time. But actually, what is a good thing for them to do is to say, well, actually, let's look at some different recipes and see how we can adapt that and start making food a little bit more interesting. So you're removing the friction of boredom, because if you are eating the same thing again and again and again, that McDonald's which you drove past, that seems tempting. The Nando's your mates just invited you to go out for, that seems tempting. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have McDonald's or you shouldn't have Nando's, because I have both those things, but it becomes more of a frequency of occurrence rather than something which I call an acceptable cheat, an acceptable diversion from your main diet plan. And that has to be, the reason for that is because those meals are so palatable, they're so tasty, and then when you think, well, I've got that, or I've got my cold tuna and jacket potato, or my cold chicken and rice or whatever, that then becomes very much a no-brainer for your mind in terms of, I want that thing rather than that cold, horrible thing. So look at what you're doing in your diet, in your training, in your lifestyle. Where's the friction? Where's the things that are stopping that ball rolling and allowing it to gather a little bit of moss? What are the things that are quite? And you'll see this if you keep a diary for a week, you'll see the things as to what things stopped you or nearly stopped you achieving your targets for that day. And I measure this with clients with something called a SMART goal tracker. Where each week they tick off things that they've done, and then at the end there's a bit of a self-assessment to say, oh right, so what things do we do well, and what things do we need to improve, what things stood on our way, and it's and every week you're assessing that, and what happens is you start to gradually chip away at these friction issues that you're seeing, and once you start creating solutions and workarounds, and I've talked about that in other videos called If This Then and stuff like that. If you create workarounds in terms of like what is in my way, how can I get around it and still stick on my course and my plan? If you can do that, then what you'll start to do is build up habits that set you on the right path all the time. And even if you do have a wobble, you can go back to that very quickly because you've already created in your mind or on your notepad or whatever, you've already created these alternate paths that you can follow. So homework for today, go and have a look at what things in your life are causing you friction, what are standing in your way, what are possible things that could stand in your way in terms of stopping you eating right, eating the foods you want, training hard, training consistently, what are those things, and also the habits in your life that are maybe holding you back. Do you snack a lot in the evening? Well, there is a solution for that. It's called break cues. Go and have a look at break cues video. Do you put things off? Do you procrastinate? Do you make up excuses as to why you can't do something? Look at why you're doing that. It's probably because you don't want to do that thing. So if it is a case of, oh, I've stubbed my toe, so now I can't go and do my 5x5 squats workout, what's the thing there? It's going to be the fact that you don't like the workout, it's not the fact that you stubbed your toe. So go and have a look at all those things and make a little diary, and over a week you'll see that there are these things that you can change and move around. So I hope that video was helpful. If it was, please give it a like and a subscribe, and share around if someone else can benefit from it. And if you're listening on the podcast, please go and leave me a review saying how good the podcast was. I appreciate all those things, of course. They help me grow my channel and grow my following and help share more useful stuff to more people, hopefully. As ever, appreciate it. Thanks for your time, and I'll see you next time.